This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. Tasmania Police is tonight investigating reports a dog was repeatedly shot at in Longford on Tuesday. The 2-year-old Labrador was found by its owners covered in blood. It's prompted a warning from the RSPCA to ensure pets are locked up.
This is Lottie. Her family says she's a lovable, friendly and placid 2-year-old Labrador. But on Tuesday night, she was found at the family's front door, covered in blood. Sam Morgan was luckily still at work when she was rushed into the vet with bullet wounds.
Had a quick assessment of her, very shocky, a lot of blood on the floor.
Sam then took several x-rays to better understand what he was dealing with, and they confirmed what he suspected. 1 bullet was lodged in the neck, 1 in the leg, and 1 just millimetres from the spine.
She was very lucky the bullet actually passed between the ribs without breaking them. And the one in her neck had sort of travelled up underneath the skin along her body and lodged just above her spine on her neck.
The family took to Facebook warning others in the area, with the post now shared almost 700 times. The RSPCA is concerned by a dog being shot at so many times, but says if an animal is worrying livestock, farmers can legally shoot it.
One's usually enough to either scare them off or to kill them, so someone has shot this dog 3 times and not very well.
It's still unclear if or how Lottie escaped from the yard, but her owners told us it is likely. From here, they'll now ensure their backyard is dog-proof and that their beloved Lottie makes a full recovery. Tasmania Police is investigating. Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
A new report has called for significant changes to the state's short-stay accommodation market as our housing crisis continues. It says while housing is a complex challenge to tackle, something has to be done soon to help vulnerable Tasmanians find a home.
Leading experts demand change and quickly as vulnerable Tasmanians continue to live without a roof over their head.
When you've got a really tight housing market and really significant increases in rents, it's often the most vulnerable Tasmanians, those on low and fixed incomes, that suffer.
If you're a priority applicant for public housing, you are in serious housing need. Like, this is not just a kind of a low level of need. As
well as rising rents and low vacancy rates, a new report says an increase in population has pushed up demand for housing. Last year, 11,600 people left Tasmania, but 13,500 moved in, leading to thousands of extra people needing a home, on top of the Tasmanians who are already desperate for a place to live.
What we're seeing is a large number of arrivals to the state, both from interstate and from overseas, which have much larger demand on new housing.
The report also highlighting the significant impact of Airbnb, calling for hosts to limit their accommodation availability to 90 days a year, for the introduction of a $500 per year permit fee, and for more power to be given to local councils.
There's an increasing commercialisation going on in the short-term stay rental sector, where hosts are more likely to be multi-listing properties and working as professional-style hosts.
Of course, there are economic benefits when it comes to short stay, but we need to ensure that those economic benefits are spread across the population and that there isn't the social cost of people sleeping in tents.
We're addressing those challenges, not only in terms of regulation and legislation, but also with our considerable investment in affordable housing.
But as discussions continue, struggling Tasmanians are still waiting. Michelle Wisbey, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania Police has rejected a request to investigate its own minister, Michael Ferguson. Labor referred him to police to investigate if he breached privacy laws and whether he disclosed a woman's abortion to her employer. The state government still hasn't provided a straight answer to that question. A police spokesperson says no investigation is warranted as the substance of the complaint doesn't constitute a criminal offence. In a statement, the Premier says the Labor Party should cease its baseless claims. Tasports has unveiled its master plan for the state's shipping future. From Bell Bay to Macquarie Wharf, Tasmania's ports will be upgraded, ensuring the state doesn't miss out on any business over the next 15 years.
Big shipping means big business, and the Apple Isle needs upgrading in order to meet growing demand.
Our customers are moving to larger ships, and our capacity to develop the ports in response to those needs is a really critical part of what's embodied in the plan.
The state's 4 main ports will be the primary focus, $80 million allocated to Burnie for a new international container terminal, and dredging work expected to start later this year.
And it does give business certainty and indeed the ability for Tasports to attract more business. 99% of our goods, inward and outward, come by sea.
Forestry and mineral exports will increase here and at Bell Bay, which will undergo a $10 million upgrade and is earmarked to become the sole port for fuel imports. In Hobart, $60 million will be spent, with the state's Antarctic logistics facility to be relocated to the corner of Macquarie Point.
Part of the planning to move the Antarctic sector into a new location is that we can continue to develop appropriate cruise infrastructure.
The East Devonport upgrade will cost around $60 million and allow larger ships like the new 215-metre-long Spirits to berth comfortably.
Essentially involves the Spirit vessel and the Sea Road vessel moving up the river a little bit.
The next step, finalising the contracts needed to fund the operations.
Tasports will fund, in conjunction with its customers, all of these projects.
Jessie Gilmore, Southern Cross News.
A Tasmanian forensic pathologist has told a Supreme Court jury he's confident bruising on the face of alleged murder victim Peter Fitzgerald is consistent with being stomped on by a shoe. Dr. Christopher Lawrence told the court he found significant bruising on the body's neck, head and arms during the autopsy and shoe patterns on both sides of the face. 36-year-old Anthony Colin Finnegan stands accused of the 2016 Summerhill murder and has pleaded not guilty to the charge. The trial continues. A structure fire in Hobart this morning has caused around $15,000 damage to an historic hotel. Fire crews arrived at the Islington Hotel around 10 a.m, quickly containing a blaze in the property's roof. The fire was caused by embers from a wood fire and has been deemed accidental. Guests were evacuated from the property. No one was injured. New recruits are taking off on the career of a lifetime as they train up for Tasmania's Westpac Rescue Helicopter Service. They're motivated by the desire to help others in desperate times of need in the most remote parts of our state.
New recruits learning the ropes as they embark on training to take to the skies. Today, a lesson in winching. They'll be using this equipment as a vital lifeline, lowering rescuers down to the ground and winching people to safety.
It's something that I wanted to do when I first started, and it's pretty much been my career goal for my entire career, being able to work as a paramedic and help people in a more challenging and sort of remote environment.
This group is made up of 2 police and 3 from the ambulance service, all picked out as the best of the best to deal with extreme situations.
Challenging situations can happen any time of the year, especially what we've seen this week with the weather. They can be sent out in those conditions any time of the day or night to basically look after someone and also look after themselves at the same time.
It's really rewarding. People want our help and need our help, and we can offer specialist help.
On any given day, they could be sent to any part of the state, the most remote wilderness and snow-covered mountains. Flight paramedics providing crucial emergency health care with limited time and equipment.
So we're applying the same set of skills that we have on a normal road ambulance that we'd go and see somebody in their house or in their backyard, but we're managing to apply those skills in the wilderness, in the bush environment, in poor weather, in anything that we're sent to.
They have another 4 weeks of training at ROCKLIFF, and they've already completed 2 months of challenging tests. One like this, a simulated crash into the water, their task to escape the upside-down helicopter.
I guess it's something really quite out of the ordinary. You're not normally upside down, strapped into a seatbelt underwater. So the first few times were a bit concerning, but you really get the feel of it.
Challenges as they earn their wings, but the biggest are still to come. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's iconic Cascade Brewery is making big changes in an effort to minimise its environmental impact. In a first step, the company has scrapped the use of plastic rings on its six-packs, but that's just the beginning.
Up to 600 cans a minute run along this production line. Cascade Brewery's six-packs were once joined together by plastic rings, around 6 million used each year. But today, it's a different story.
We're a big supporter of the sustainability agenda that Tasmania is well loved for. We think it's important that we play a role in that, in being environmentally conscious.
Over the next few weeks, beer lovers will notice a change to Cascade's packaging. Six-packs now sold in a recyclable cardboard wrap.
People have been really supportive. We're getting letters from the community indicating how positive the change has been, so we imagine that the bulk of the community will be behind us.
The plastic rings are known around the world for their significant environmental damage, both to our landscape and wildlife. The switch has meant big changes on the South Hobart factory floor.
I'm really proud. Such a good thing for the company and the environment in general.
Cardboard six-packs are just one change being made by the Cascade Brewery. It's now in its first stages of installing solar panels and hopes to be 100% run on renewable energy by 2025 or earlier.
The plastic around the bottles is part of a bigger project that would be part of our 2025 sustainability goals, which are around having returnable or recyclable packaging.
Cascade is the first brand in the Carlton and United Breweries company to make the switch. Michelle Wisbey, Southern Cross News.
For those of us who aren't filthy rich, $100 million could have a life-changing impact. And if you're lucky, you could take home the winnings of the biggest Powerball jackpot in the game's 22-year history. Punters today swarming news agencies to try their luck at claiming the grand prize.
Everyone's coming down to try and get a chance in the 100 million, so we've been flat out all morning.
It's estimated 1 in 3 Australians have bought a ticket for tonight's draw. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. Australian shares have closed flat despite strong individual performances from Treasury Wine Estates and QBE as materials and energy stocks come under pressure. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 0.7 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 72.68 US cents and 110.34 New Zealand cents.
Glenorchy coach Paul Kennedy has called for more sanctions to be put in place after a Clarence player was given just 1 week for striking, while Roos coach Jeromey WEBBERLEY is adamant his side can bounce back in time for finals following a recent form slump. Clarence star Jay Cox's strike on Glenorchy's Harrison Gunther was deemed low impact by the MRP, and the victim's coach says something needs to give.
If you throw a haymaker and you don't connect, there should still be some sort of penalty, shouldn't there? Because again, you just got lucky. You got lucky in the end that you didn't connect. And if your intention was to punch someone and hurt someone, there should be repercussion for that.
Kennedy using the example of West Coast player Andrew Gaff, who recently copped 8 weeks for this punch on Fremantle's Andrew Brayshaw, with the Pies coach now calling on the TSL to shape a new set of rules around striking.
I was lucky not to land as same as Gaff's did, and it's a 1 week suspension. And I think we just need to deter the action rather than worry so much about the outcome.
With Cox set to be sidelined for Clarence's clash with the Tigers this weekend, it means another headache for Roos coach Jeromey WEBBERLEY, with his list already depleted due to injury.
You know, if we could roll out our best 22 every week, then we could progressively improve throughout the year and we can work on things, whereas at the moment we sort of 4 or 5 changes every week. So,
touted as potential flag favourites earlier in the season, Clarence have managed to win just 1 of their past 5 games, but WEBBERLEY says he's confident his men will step up come finals.
I'm sure that it'll click at one stage and, you know, we'll become the team that we were for the first 10 rounds. At the moment it's not working, but the last thing we can do is drop our heads and drop our bundle.
Two of state netball's fiercest rivals are going head-to-head for a spot in the big dance. The winner of Northern Hawks and Cavaliers will play Arrows in the State League Grand Final. Hawks have won 2 previous outings against Cavs this season.
tight one-on-one and fast ball movement. That's what we're good at, so no point changing it now in finals. Just stick to what we know and execute the game plan well.
We're a very strong defensive team, the stats show that, so it's just making sure we use that ball effectively once we get it in our hands and making sure we get it to a shot every time to give our shooters the most opportunity.
The local derby begins Saturday afternoon at the Silverdome. The Launceston Tornadoes are on the hunt for a new major sponsor, with Bellamy's Organic relinquishing its partnership with the club. The company has been the Torns naming rights sponsor for the past 2 years, but says it's made the decision in order to refocus on its core business. While the club says it's excited to embrace the next chapter in its history as the side prepares to take on Bendigo this Saturday night for the Siebel Championship. He's established himself as one of the best young motocross stars in the country, with 2 Australian titles to his name. And now Jett Burgess-Stevenson is preparing to test himself against the best up-and-coming riders on the planet. Living up to his name, Jett Burgess-Stevenson rides like a young man possessed.
Just really like dirt bikes. He likes the jumping and the crazy things that you do in the air, so I think that's the adrenaline that he likes.
I like the big jumps and, you know, going fast.
Winning his first national championship at 9 years of age, the Tasmanian already has a string of junior titles to his name, showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon.
Got onto the KTM team, which now you basically got a target on your back because everyone knows you're on the KTM team and they're all wanting to beat you.
Last year I started doing the gym, so been getting my fitness up a lot.
Recently picked in a team of 7 riders to represent Australia, the 13-year-old is gearing up to take on the sport's best up-and-comers at the World Junior Championships later this month. And after dominating his age bracket, Jett has now stepped up to the 85cc big wheel category against older and more experienced riders.
The people he's going to be racing against coming from America and Europe, these people are like homeschooled, like they're pros, you know what I mean? They live, eat and breathe it.
But with his state, coach and mother behind him, who also steps in as bike mechanic.
I try and do as much as I can. It really keeps the cost down. If I can do it all myself, then we're good.
Jett says he's ready to shift things up another gear.
I don't really get that nervous, but it should be good because I've got the advantage because all those other kids are going to be coming from other countries like America and Europe.
The championships begin in Horsham, Victoria on August 25.
Good evening. It was fine and partly cloudy for most of the state today, with showers in the west and parts of the south. Hobart, Burnie and Devonport all recorded a top of 13 degrees today. It was 14 in Launceston. 15 degrees was the top temperature around the state, recorded at St Helens and Friendly Beaches. King Island, Flinders Island and Smithton all 13. Low Head, Maria Island and Strawn 12 degrees. It was 11 at Grove and Ooze and a top of just 2 at Lyowini. Heavy clouds sat over the west and south of the state, with patchy mountain waves over the rest. Similar open cell cloud over Victoria, parts of South Australia and southwest WA, and a jet stream of high cloud flowing across South Australia and New South Wales. Tomorrow, a cold front moves through the Bight and across the southeast of the country during the afternoon and evening. On the coast, northwesterly winds 15 to 25 knots, increasing to up to 30 in the west, seas rising 2 to 3 metres. Now tomorrow there is a gale warning for northwesterly winds between Low Rocky Point and Stanley, a strong wind warning for the rest of the coast, a small craft wind alert for the lakes and a minor flood warning for the Derwent. Taking a closer look at tomorrow now, and showers are expected across the state. Hobart a top of 16, Huonville and Campania 15 degrees. Launceston 13 the top, a wet and windy day for Devonport and Georgetown, both 13 also. Wet and windy for the northwest too. Burnie, Strawn and Wynyard all looking at a top of 13 degrees. St Helens 14 tomorrow, Swansea and Port Arthur both 15. Now looking ahead to the weekend, statewide showers on Saturday contracting to the west and far south in the evening, with snow down to 500 metres. More showers on Sunday easing up later in the day, snowfalls to 300 metres in the west and south of the state. And Monday, morning showers in the west and south spreading statewide in the afternoon. Further north tomorrow, showers for Perth and Adelaide, a sunny day for Brisbane and Darwin, Melbourne and Sydney both partly cloudy. And here's a look at the conditions right now. We've got a few more wet days ahead of us, but surely the sun will come back soon, Jo.
That's all from the news team for now. Have a great evening. We'll see you a bit later.